Chapter 3. Ghosts in the Seventh Kingdom POV. Alistair. Darkness returned to me in fragments, slow and invasive. Unwelcome in the way nightmares were unwelcome, inevitable, and intimate all at once. Sound came first, echoing and distant, distorted as if carried through deep water. It took effort to separate voices from the ringing in my skull, to convince myself they were real and not the remnants of a spell gone wrong. They are so young. The voice was female, soft, hesitant, curious in a way that unsettled me more than cruelty ever could. Not weak measuring, like someone examining a blade and wondering how sharp it might become with proper use. So young yet have this. A man answered her. His voice was rough, low, carrying the scrape of stone against stone. Paper rustled slow, deliberate. My instincts flared weakly at the sound. Maps, reports, assessments. The kind of documentation that meant decisions had already been made. We weren't prisoners, we were specimens. I tried to move. Pain lanced through my shoulders as restraints bit deeper, cold and unyielding. Magic-dampening ropes were coiled tight around my arms and chest, their runes humming softly as my power surged in reflex and slammed into an invisible barrier that wrapped my veins like iron wire. The recoil was violent, my magic thrashing uselessly, furious at the confinement, furious at me for failing to protect it. I forced my breathing steady, refusing to give them the satisfaction of panic, even as something tight and bitter coiled in my chest. I didn't know where we were. Luciano's portal had been flawless until it hadn't been. Coordinates locked to an abandoned town just past Drestin's no man's land. I remembered the moment of stillness before the jump, the perfect balance of energy, the quiet confidence that we were safe. Then darkness. So she has started sending amateurs here. How useless. The words landed like a blade slid between my ribs. Not anger. Not threat. Disdain. Silence followed, heavy and intentional, as if they were waiting to see what that contempt would do to us. My jaw clenched. I swallowed it down. Survival meant restraint, even now. Footsteps approached, slow, unhurried, confident. Whoever owned them knew exactly where we were and exactly what we could not do. Then the scent reached me. Sweet floral, almost intoxicating, but sharpened by something darker beneath it. Spice. Smoke. Blood warmed by skin. My magic reacted instantly, coiling and clawing inside me, desperate to reach it, to touch it. The hunger startled me, violent and immediate, and I hated myself for it. What was that smell? I think he's awake. X, did you pull your shadows already? I told you to tell me first. Her tone shifted, playful now, teasing, intimate. Familiar in a way that suggested history, not hierarchy. Like this X was more than a subordinate, like he belonged to her in a way that went beyond command. The realization twisted something ugly in my chest, sharp and irrational. Why did that make me angry? The man grunted. No. He must be a light fae. Strange. Something in his tone sharpened not curiosity, but assessment. As if I'd failed to fit neatly into a category that mattered. Then laughter filled the space. Not courtly laughter. Not polite or restrained. A full, uninhibited belly laughed bright and loud, ending in small, almost squeaking sounds that echoed off the stone walls. Adorable. The word slammed into my thoughts unbidden, intrusive and wrong, and I recoiled from it hard enough that my restraints bit deeper into my skin. What the fuck? Why is it strange? She asked between chuckles. Anybody could be an assassin, X even the perfect light fae. But, something touched my face. Lightning ripped through my body. I gasped as electricity detonated along my nerves, pain and sensation colliding violently. My spine arched involuntarily. Breath tearing free as my magic howled at the restraint, desperate to answer hers, to complete something I didn't understand. Her touch wasn't violent. It was curious. Hungry. He doesn't seem like a light fae, she murmured thoughtfully. No, he seems to be a dark mage, with the ability to wield the light around him. She hummed, contemplative, as if savoring the idea as if I were a puzzle rather than a person. Then she pulled her finger away. The sudden absence hit harder than the touch. My body jolted involuntarily, breath stuttering as something like loss tore through me before I could stop it. Shame burned hot and immediate. I had reacted. She had noticed. He has potential, she decided lightly. Let's not kill them, please. They could be useful. No. Kill. The word cut through the haze like a blade. My eyes flew open. Electric storm eyes stared back at me, violent blues streaked with silver, alive with power barely leashed. The rest of her was hidden beneath a voluminous robe, fabric swallowing her shape entirely, denying me context or control. Disappointment hit me hard and fast, sharp enough to be stupid. She clapped suddenly and jumped to her feet. See? He's awake. So much potential. No. The single word was a growl. I turned my head toward him and God's X was enormous. Taller than Drake, wider, a living wall of corded muscle wrapped in dark uniform cloth. His face was devastatingly beautiful in the way predators were beautiful, precise, lethal, untouched by softness. Endless pools of shadow filled his eyes, black markings writhing faintly along his skin before vanishing beneath his collar. Shadow Fae. They are a danger, goddess, he said evenly. We don't let dangers live, goddess. The title landed heavy in my chest. Goddess. I couldn't see her face, but I heard the pout in her voice. You're no fun. Then, bright and sudden, but you know what, X? His jaw tightened. What? You're not in charge. The air shifted, pressure rolling outward in a way that made my skin prickle. X didn't move, but the shadows around him deepened, coiling, restrained only by will and whatever bond kept him from acting. Don't, he started. She ignored him completely and turned back to me. Hello there. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. And this big lug won't either. She tilted her head, studying me. I don't see a reason to waste potential. What's your name? I scanned the room despite the ache screaming through my body. A dungeon. Stone walls slick with age and magic. Bars reinforced with sigils. My brothers Luciano, Drake, Silas, each bound by thick, glowing ropes that dampened magic completely. Alive. Unharmed. The relief nearly broke me, slicing through fear and fury alike. I held on to it like a lifeline, anchoring myself to the fact that I hadn't failed them completely. I won't tell you who sent us, I said. Her posture changed instantly. Her head snapped upright, her body going taut as power pressed outward like a drawn blade. The playful warmth vanished, replaced by something cold and terrifyingly precise. Did I ask who sent you? She snarled. Why would I ask a question to which I know the answer? She continued. Do you go around asking your prisoners what 2 + 2 is, knowing full well it's 4? Damn it. She held the silence until I understood my mistake, until the weight of it settled heavy in my chest. I asked what your name is. I swallowed, throat tight. Are you going to kill us? She laughed, but this time it was sharp-edged, dangerous. Are you deaf? Dumb? A complete invalid unable to process conversations I know for a fact you heard? She turned sharply to the man X. I thought beings of darkness had exceptional hearing and intelligence. Did you lie to me? He grunted once. What do you want? I asked, exhaustion finally bleeding through my discipline. I was so tired of guessing which version of her I would face next. She gasped and clapped again, instantly cheerful. Now that's a question. I love it when assassins ask good questions. She paced, tapping her fingers against her lips. Or what I hoped were her lips X's shadow magic humming around her like a barely leashed storm. What do I want? She mused. She stopped abruptly and faced me. I want to know what you boys will do. Her fingers snapped. 3 groans echoed as my brothers stirred and guilt slammed into me hard and unforgiving. I had brought them here. My choices had put them on this stone floor. Most assassins kill themselves the moment they realize they're trapped, she continued lightly. Some try to escape and get eaten alive by Drestin. Others pretend loyalty to hunt their target from the inside. She smiled beneath the hood. I could hear it. But nobody has ever taken my offer. Luciano groaned beside me. What offer? Oh, you want to know? She squealed. This is exciting. Isn't it exciting, X? He nodded once. She retrieved something from a table beyond the bars and returned, placing metal bands before me. Magic nullifying bracelets. The choosing is happening soon, she said brightly. Likely the new moon, I'll give you the chance to remain here, safe and free, wearing these lovely accessories. My blood ran cold. Your magic will return when the choosing begins, she continued. You'll either be chosen, Or you can try and fail to kill your target. And do you know who our target is? I asked carefully, already dreading the answer. She laughed long and hard, wiping at her eyes when she finished. Of course. Her voice dropped, theatrical and reverent. Villain extraordinaire. Traitor to the Solaris Crown. Most loathed woman alive. Attempted murderer of Prince Liam. Magicless, unwanted adopted daughter to the Duke of Solaris. She stepped closer. Poisoner, sinner, abomination. Her hood fell back. Silver hair spilled free, blue and black, staining the ends like ink and water. Her gaze locked onto mine, unblinking, electric, certain. I'm your target, she said softly. Aurelia von Tempest. The room felt too small to breathe. You know my name now, she murmured. What's yours? I opened my mouth, but it was too late. Shadows rushed me, and the world went black. Consciousness returned without ceremony, like I'd been dropped from a height and caught by nothing at the last second. The dampening rope still held me in place. The dungeon unchanged, but something fundamental had shifted. The silence was no longer expectant. It was settled. The scent was there again, familiar now in a way that terrified me, and my magic stirred as if it had been waiting. That alone told me this wasn't a simple holding cell or a roadside dungeon. This was a structure built into the bones of the Seventh Kingdom, a place meant to contain what Drestin itself could not afford to unleash. Easy, Aurelia said softly, somewhere close. You're awake again. Good. I don't like repeating myself. She stood just beyond my reach, posture relaxed, robe immaculate, as though this were a Solaris court rather than a kingdom defined by sacrifice and decay. X remained behind her, unmoving, his presence heavy enough to feel like a physical weight. He wasn't guarding her. He was enforcing reality. You didn't answer my question, she continued, unhurried. That usually means one of two things. You're deciding whether honesty will cost you more than silence. Or you're hoping I'll forget. I said nothing. She smiled faintly. It won't work. I don't forget. She turned and walked slowly across my field of vision. Stopping beside Luciano, letting her fingers hover close enough to his restraints that the dampening runes flickered in response. You care about them, she observed lightly. That makes you predictable. She faced me once more, stepping close enough that the scent filled my lungs whether I wanted it to or not. My magic surged, furious and eager and entirely useless. You are not negotiating, Aurelia said calmly. You are choosing how this ends. Her gaze flicked toward the bracelets. Wear them, and you live here, safe, fed, watched until the choosing. Refuse, and I let you try to escape. A pause. Drestin will finish what I start. X shifted behind her, ready. And before you decide to be clever, she added softly. Understand this. If one of you dies because of your choice, I won't feel guilt. I'll feel disappointment. She straightened, the moment passing as cleanly as it had come. Rest. Think. I'll return when you're ready to answer properly. She turned away without waiting for a response, X following in silent lockstep. The door closed with a final, echoing thud that sealed the dungeon in controlled quiet. Only then did my breath shake.